You know the exact moment when your dad's footsteps hit the third stair. You can hear the difference between the car door closing after a good day versus a bad one. You walk into any room and your entire nervous system lights up like a control panel, cataloging who's tense, who's faking, whose smile doesn't match their voice. You didn't choose this. You didn't practice it. You just woke up one day when you were 7 or 9 or 12 and you could read a room faster than you could read a book. And everyone calls it anxiety. They say you overthink, that you're paranoid, that you need to relax, but you can't explain to them that relaxing feels like turning off a smoke detector in a burning building. You can't explain that what they call overthinking is actually the sound of your brain doing exactly what it was trained to do. What everyone calls anxiety might actually be the most sophisticated skill your brain ever built, and it built it to keep you alive. There's a term for what you developed. It's called hypervigilance, but that word makes it sound like a disorder when it's actually a design. Your brain built a threat detection system so sensitive it can pick up danger in a sigh, a pause, a shift in someone's posture. And it built it during childhood because it had to. Dr. Kim Sage calls it eggshell parenting, growing up in a home where you never knew which version of your parent you'd get. One wrong word, one bad grade, one loud laugh could shatter the peace. So your brain did what all brains do when they're trying to survive. It started scanning. It tracked patterns. It learned to read micro-signals most people don't even register. The problem is that your amygdala, the part of your brain that detects threats, became hyperactivated. Research shows that children who grow up in unpredictable environments develop amygdalas that fire faster and louder than other people's. It's not a malfunction, it's an adaptation. You weren't born anxious. You were born into a situation that required a surveillance system, and your brain built you one. What you call overthinking is actually your brain running software it wrote when you were too young to know it was writing it. You scan rooms because scanning rooms used to be the difference between safety and pain. And here's the part no one tells you. It worked. You survived. The system your brain built kept you alive. That's not a flaw. That's proof of how brilliant you actually are. What you have is something researchers call micro-expression fluency, the ability to read faces, tones, body language, and emotional subtext at expert-level speed. It's like learning a second language before you could speak your first, except the language was reading danger and the classroom was your own home. Most people learn social cues gradually, casually, in safety. You learned them under pressure. You learned them as survival. That's why you can walk into a room and know in 3 seconds who's lying, who's hurting, who's about to explode. It's not intuition. It's pattern recognition built on thousands of hours of involuntary practice. Dr. Kim Sage's research on eggshell parenting shows that children in unpredictable homes don't just develop anxiety, they develop an entirely different operating system for reading people. Your brain learned threat detection the way other kids learned to ride a bike. And it's real. Mark is 34 now, a high school teacher. He grew up with an alcoholic father. He could tell by the sound of the keys in the door whether he'd be safe that night. By the weight of his dad's footsteps, whether he should stay in his room or risk going downstairs. Today, he's the teacher that every struggling kid gravitates toward, because he can see pain no one else notices. Students who are being abused at home, kids on the edge of dropping out, the ones everyone else writes off as lazy or defiant, Mark sees them. Because he was them. His gift is real. And it cost him his childhood. That's the paradox. You're not imagining it. But it shouldn't have been yours to carry this young. Here's the part that makes you feel crazy. Even when you're safe now, your brain still can't turn off the scanner. That's not weakness, that's complex PTSD, a framework that explains what happens when your brain stays in threat detection mode long after the threat is gone. Your amygdala, the brain's smoke detector, got stuck in the on position. It's not that you're looking for danger. It's that your brain can't believe danger isn't coming. Peace doesn't feel like relief. It feels like the moment before the other shoe drops. Studies on amygdala hyperactivation show that brains trained in childhood to expect unpredictability keep firing those alarm signals even in calm environments. Your nervous system is still bracing, still waiting. That's why a quiet afternoon feels suspicious, why kindness feels like a setup, why rest feels dangerous. It's not you being difficult. It's your brain running on software that saved your life once and hasn't gotten the update that the war is over. And people praise you for it. They call it emotional intelligence. They say you're so intuitive, so empathic, so good at reading people. And you are. But they don't see the cost. They don't see that you can't ever fully relax because your system is still scanning every face, every tone, every silence for the threat it's certain is hiding there. You're exhausted not because you're weak, but because you've been running a surveillance system every waking moment since you were a child. That's not a personality trait. That's a biology built under pressure. And it's time someone told you you're not paranoid, you're adapted. And adaptation isn't the same thing as broken. Those footsteps you learned to count, that car door you learned to decode, they weren't teaching you to be afraid. They were teaching you to be fluent in a language most people never learn. You didn't develop intuition, you developed a translator's ear for danger. And the gift is real, it's not in your head, it's in your wiring. You can see what others miss because you had to. You read rooms in seconds because for years that reading kept you safe. The cost was high, the cost was your childhood. But the gift is yours now, and you get to decide what to do with it. You get to stop apologizing for being too sensitive and start recognizing that what you carry is rare. If you've spent your whole life reading rooms and wondering why you can't turn it off, you're not anxious. You're not overthinking, you're a translator. And your gift has been waiting for you to stop apologizing for it.